Hi guys, hope you're doing good. In this video, we're going to learn about association. Now, association is a connection between two classes, right? We go for association whenever there is a has relationship. In the previous video, you would have learned about inheritance. So we go for inheritance whenever there is a relationship, right? So whenever there is a has relationship, we go for association, right? So there are two types of association. One is composition, another one is aggregation. So when I say composition, composition is like we'll be going for composition whenever one class owns another class completely, right? So this kind of relationship, a strong relationship, is called as composition, right? And aggregation, if we go for aggregation when one class uses another class. So this is not fully dependent, this is actually partially dependency, right? So we go for composition whenever there is a full dependency, we go for aggregation whenever there is a partial dependency. So let me give an example for composition. So when I say composition, I can take an example. For example, there is a class called as person. So this person like has some properties, right? Let the person class have some properties like name, address, email, phone number, right, etc. Now I want something to be included into this person class, that is date, right? So date is not one thing, it's going to be a combination of three data. So let me have one more class called as date. So this class have three properties, that is day, month and year. Now like what I can do is that I can use the date class inside my person class. Like I can say create a date of birth with the help of date class. So when I say date of birth, this object is fully dependent on the person class, right? So the date of birth object cannot stand alone, right? So when I use date of birth DOB, it must be fully dependent on the person class. Now this date of birth object can be created with the help of date object, right? Date class. So when I say I create an object within another class, this kind of relationship is association, right? Has a relationship. Now I can say person has a date of birth, right? So you're getting that sentence, right? Person has a date of birth. Now this date of birth is fully dependent on the person class. I cannot take this date of birth out and use it separately, because date of birth must be dependent on any human being, right? So or an animal or anything, right? So which has some date of birth. So this date of birth is fully associated to this person class. So this kind of relationship is called as composition, right? So let me give one more example for aggregation. When I say I have a class called as student, and student have a roll number, name, marks, total, average, etc., right? Now I have, let me have one more class called as college. So in this college, right, let me have a department and semester, year, etc., right? Now here I can say the college class has student. Now I can say, let me put this aside, right? I can say college has students. So when I say college has students, it means that I'm going to send an object to this college class. So I'm going to send an object to the college class. This will be stu, right? So the stu is an object which comes inside the college. Now I can say that student can act alone, right? The student class, the entire student class or an object can act alone to do any work, right? So this kind of relationship is called as aggregation, right? Aggregation is not fully dependent, it is like partially dependent, right? So when a student class is partially dependent on college, now I can say college has a student. Now this student class can act separately or act alone. So that is what I'm going to explain you with some example. Let me clear this out for you. I'm going to take the same example which I've taken in inheritance. If at all you have not watched my video on inheritance, please go and watch it. I've given the link in the description below. Right, okay. So I have two classes. One is class person and class employee, which wherein like the class employee inherits a class person. And in class person, I have five attributes, that is first name, last name, name, address, and phone number. And in employee class, I have three attributes, that is ID, salary, and email, right? Now, if I want to include date of birth for the person class and date of joining for the employee class, now what will I do? I'll just go and create a class called as class date, right? This is an independent class. This class doesn't depend on anyone. This is just an independent class, and I'm going to create like some properties here inside my date class, and I'm going to create an object for the date class inside my person class like this. I'll say self dot date. I'll say dob. Let it be a private object, right? So now when I say dob, this dob becomes an object of class date. Now this type of relationship is called as composition, right? So when I create an object inside of another class inside another class, right? So I'm creating an object of the class date inside class person. Now this relationship becomes a composition. Now one thing that I want to say, this dob is an object which will get deleted once the object of the person class is getting deleted. So this will be no more be available when the person classes goes off. That's the reason I say composition. Composition means strong relationship, which means that one object is dependent on another object, right? So when the person object goes out of scope, dob will never be there existing, right? So that's the reason we call it as composition. This also has a relationship, right? So when I say has a relationship, how will I say? Person has a date of birth. Okay, now let me create some properties inside date of birth for the date class. Now my date class have three attributes, that is day, month and year, and two methods, set date and get date, to get input for the date and to print the input information of the date, right? So let me go ahead and call the method, right? So wherever I want that method to be called, I can go and call it, right? So I'll say self dot dob dot, I'll say set date. So when I call this method, after getting the first name and last name, the set date method will be called, which is present inside my date class. So if this method will be called, and you're getting input for day, month and year, that is for the object dob. That dob object present inside my class person. So this dob belongs to the class person. Don't worry that this date is a separate class, how will I use it? No, many people ask me that question, right? Whenever I go for composition, people ask me that question. This is a separate class and there is no relationship, how do I use it, right? We can do it with the help of composition, right? So when I create an object of one class inside another class, this class owns that object, right? The properties of this class, right? So dob owns the properties. Now after that, like if I want to print here, I can just say self dot dob dot get date. So when I do that, the date of birth information will be printed here, right, at this place. Now I can also create an object in my employee class. Let it say self dot doj. Now I'll say date of joining. I'll be creating an object for date of birth. Like as I created an object for date of birth, sorry, I forgot one thing, that I need to say date, right? If I don't do that, the object will not be created. Okay, so the object will be created and it will be stored in dob. Now here I'm creating an object and I'm storing it in doj. Now doj becomes an object of class date. Now this is also composition only, right? So okay, now here doj is an object of class employee. So when employee class object goes out of scope, doj will get erased. So this kind of relationship, as I said, it's a Hasse relationship and it is fully dependent. Since it is fully dependent, we say it is composition. Okay, let me get the, after getting the id, let me get the date of joining. Let me say self dot doj dot, I'll say get set date. So when the set date method is called, you will be getting input for day, month and year, and that will be your date of joining, right? So let me call the method again for printing it, right? After the id, let me print doj dot get date. Got it? Now I'll be creating an object for emp, because we'll be creating object for the derived class. It is not required for me to create object for the base class, right? So let me create an object for the derived class. When the object emp goes out of scope, right, the doj and the person class with itself go, because it is an inheritance relationship. So whenever there is an is relationship, the entire properties of the person class will get inherited into the employee class. So when the emp goes out of scope, dob doj will get erased, and that's the reason we call it as fully dependent. Okay, then let me run this code. First let me save this program for you and let me run the code. Run this code for you. Oops. Okay, there's a typo error. Let me check whether they have any typo error somewhere else. That's it. Okay, let me run it again. Okay, it's asking for the first name. Let me say Samuel, last name Edison, date of birth in DD. I'll say YY MM, address, phone number, ID. Again, it's asking for date of joining. Let me say DD MM, right? And then it's asking for salary. Let me say 9,000. So you can see that you're getting the output perfectly, right? So it's like first name, last name, and then the date of birth, address, phone number, employee ID, date of joining, and salary, right? And finally the email address. Got it, guys? So this is what we call it as composition. When an object is fully dependent on another object, then that kind of relationship is called as composition, right? So this date of birth object is fully dependent on what is happening to person class. When the person class goes out of scope, the object DOB will also get erased. That's the reason we call it as fully dependency, right? Full dependency means it is fully dependent on that. Without that, it cannot survive anymore. Got it, guys? Hope you understood composition. Now let us go ahead and see aggregation. Let me give a different example for aggregation. Now in this program, like I have two classes. One is class student, another one is class college. Fully independent classes. There is no dependency as of now, right? So class student have some attributes, that is name, roll number, marks, total and average, and two methods to get input and to print the output. And in college class, I have three attributes, that is department, year and semester, and two methods again to get and print the output. Now here, as of now, everything is independent. Let me say stu and say student, right? And then col, creating an object called a col for the class college, right? So two independent classes working separately. Now if I want to create dependency on college and student, right? As I said already, college has student, right? The student must study in the college, right? If I want to create an object to make it dependence, I'll say stu, I'll say self dot stu assign student. Now when I do this, this becomes composition, right? We don't want composition. Now this becomes composition and fully dependent, like when the object goes out of, students also going out, right? That should not happen. I don't want this to happen. So what should I do? So instead of creating a composition relationship, let me create a aggregation relationship. So how will I create aggregation relationship? When I want to create an aggregation relationship, I'll just simply pass the object of one class as an argument to another class. I'm creating an object for college class using col, and I'm passing the object stu, which is here. This is an independent class, right? This is an independent object, right? It's an independent object. It doesn't depend on anything. So this will be still there even the object college goes out of scope, or even the college object is getting deleted, the student object will still be there. When I create an object for the college class, it will go and call the init method by default. And the object when it is created will go to self, and when I'm passing something, I need to have one more a parameter to catch it, right? So by default, whenever an object is created, self will be holding the object, the object which is created, and others I'm passing stu to it. Now others is holding the object stu, right? Now here let me say self dot stu assign others. Now here what I'm doing, I'm creating an object for the class student and passing it as argument to another class. Now this kind of relationship, what's happening here, this is called as aggregation, right? So now others will be holding others is an object which will be holding the object stu, that's student class object. Now from here I can access with the help of stu, right, with the help of the object stu, I can access all the properties of the student class. Now will I do it? Let me go and do it for you. I'll say self dot stu. Now don't confuse, this stu is different from this stu. If you want, I can change the name to st, right? I'll say dot, first let me set the information, and from here I can say self dot st dot get info, right? Let me explain you what's happening. So as I said, like I'm creating an object for the student class, and I'm creating object for the college class, and I'm passing the object of the student class to the college class, and that's getting stored in others object. And then here that I'm initializing it to st, because it's a what parameter is a local one. I cannot use it, I can use it only when there is a class member, right? So I use it here st dot set info. So when I say st dot set info, this method will be called and we'll be getting input. And I'll say when I say set st dot get info, it will call this method and these information will be printed. Okay, let me run this code for you first. Okay, I didn't call the method, I'm sorry. I'll say set college and then say get college. Let me run this code for you. Now here it is asking for name, let me say Samuel, roll number 123, marks, let me say 23, 34, 45, 56 and 67, 3 marks, and then say CSE, year, let it be 2, semester 3. Now you can see this name, roll number and marks are from the student class, right? So I'm getting name, roll number, marks, total and average, right? Total and average is, yeah, I'm getting it's getting calculated, but I'm getting input for 3. So what I'm getting input, I'm getting input for name, roll number and marks, and then I'm getting input for department, year and semester. So this method, it's clear and evident, it is going and calling the set info method in the class student, right? And then get info, next method what I'm calling is get college, right? So get college, inside that I have get info method that is called by the object st. It goes and calls this method, does the work and come back and then print department, year and semester. So whatever input I got, so I got the total and average as well, which is getting calculated. Now here if I say my college, I'm deleting my college class, I'll say del col. So when I say del col, the college object will get deleted. I cannot use col anymore, it will throw error, but I can use stu still. Let me say get info stu dot, let me say set info. So let me put a del dunder method here to make you understand it is deleting the object. Right. So let me say self and then say branch college object deleted. Okay, let me have one more print here to get a space. So let me say prints get student information, right? Let me clear the screen for you. Now when I first execute the code, it is going and it is creating object for the student class, it is creating object for the college class, and I'm calling the set college method. So in set college method, first line is that I'm calling the set info method of the student class. It goes here and starts getting input for the name. So let me say my name, roll number, and let me give marks, 5 marks, and then department, let me say year 3, sem 4, right? So now you can see that, right, it's printing everything and the college object is getting deleted, and you can see the get student information, it is still getting the student information, right? So you can see the student object is still present, right, even though after deleting the college object. So nothing will happen to the student information, right? Nothing will happen to the student information even though you delete the college object. So this is why we go for aggregation, right? When one object is not fully dependent on another object, or if I want my object to still present even though there is a has relationship, I want my other object to be present even though that object where there's a has relationship going out of scope, I want to use it, I can go ahead and use aggregation. Got it, guys? Hope you understood. Don't worry, I've given all these programs in the GitHub, and I've given the link in the description. You can go and take the program and use it for yourself. And if you have any doubts or queries, please comment in the comment section. I'll definitely get back to you. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up and do subscribe to my channel. Thank you very much.